Good evening. We're back with the channel. How you doing, guys?
I'm good, thank
Good.
you.
We're introducing Bronia Suzman and my co-host Amanda
Sorry,
DeSensi.
it's Sussman.
Sussman. My apologies.
It's
How
all
you
good.
both doing? Are we okay?
We're great.
Yeah.
We've been speaking before we came on air, and we were talking about the post October 7th and so what we're experiencing now. What was your life like before? Well, almost 2 years ago.
I like extremely different. I think I was an assimilated Jew, and I think that's kind of how I've probably lived most of my life since I moved to the national capital region. So I work in Ontario, but I like live in Gatineau, which is very, very, most people do that in the area because it's a 15-minute drive. So, but I think before that, I married an interfaith marriage. So my husband's not Jewish. And we just always said that we would just kind of let the kids pick what they wanted to do in life, even like religion wise. So we've done a lot of Christmases, but then some years they'd want to do Hanukkah, or we'd explore like a Seder, we do this. And I think the last 2 years just like really brought me like full circle, like be like my faith. And I think like how I feel towards like Judaism and even just as a culture is is part of who I am. And I can't deny it.
Yeah.
So that's why I've like probably in the last like couple of years have changed a lot and maybe alienated people. But then I also believe that I kind of like do believe that Hashem kind of makes those, helps you along with those kind of decisions. And
Agreed.
Yeah.
perhaps replacing people who I've actually needed in my life and people who like actually support me and don't say evil things that would be very hurtful, because they are like, I think we've all probably experienced people saying things but not saying that they're those things are anti-Semitic. But I
For
mean, when
sure.
you look at under the scope, you're like, that's
I get a lot of those. I'm not anti-Semitic because I have friends who are Jewish. I'm just anti-Zionist or anti-Israel or anti-IDF, as if that's even a normal thing to say to a person, that you're anti an army in another country overseas that has nothing to do with you. I mean, so I fully relate to that. I've lost people that were irrelevant, but I've also lost people that I really counted on and really thought were going to be with me for life. So I think we share a lot of similarities in that sense. I mean, and it's been the hardest thing to navigate, I think, is people that we know, not, I expect it from strangers. I expect it from social media. I expect it, but you don't expect it from people you actually know and who know
no.
you more importantly. So,
Yeah, from your like inner circle. And that's why I think as well, like I think being able to kind of like rely on people who kind of become your rock in a certain way that you didn't expect that those people would show up. Like I'll even
sure.
point out Amanda. She's always been like this person that I can feel comfortable saying things that even I probably wouldn't tell like others. And then she's just been so like always like have my back. Like sometimes that's
Absolutely.
all you want. Like
Yeah.
just please listen and some empathy. That's what I feel like has been lacking the most, is some empathy.
Yeah,
For sure.
the accusation is thrown at us that we lack empathy in
Yeah.
totality for the Gazan people, which is simply not true.
No.
It's the opposite. Like I just like daily I am just so morally exhausted, and I just feel so sad all the time because there's so many people suffering. And
Yeah.
even if they're like they talk about like the potential famine, or if there is or there isn't, it doesn't matter. These people are still suffering
Yeah.
extremely.
Extremely.
70% of Gaza is gone. Like what do you do with those kind of numbers? How do you move on? Like it's just horrifying. Like, and I'm hurt that other people don't see that we do care, and it has nothing to do about one winning over the other. At the moment, we've all lost.
And
Yeah.
it's even, I found myself, even though being in a position where I've said that the Gazans are actually brothers and sisters, but I also point out the fact that, I know by doing a little bit of research, up until March this year, that 1.7 million tons of food had arrived up until March. And where's that gone? And I just get called, well, you know what we get called. Can you differentiate the existential pressure, like microscope, especially in Canada, pre October 7th and now?
I don't feel like there was like it was something we could be open about. I think it was not something that was just like, that's part of you. Great. Let's move on. We're going to the movie. Like it wasn't, it was just like everyone is diverse. And now it's like, it's become the diversity is the divisiveness as well. So I think it goes hand in hand. And I don't know if like where the future is going. And I don't like to talk about immigration a lot, but I think that also hasn't helped. We've been a very open country, welcoming a lot of people in, but our policies in immigration have drastically changed. And I think during COVID, they became way too lax.
For sure.
And I say like we used to really like tend to be big on, if you hold our values, then great, you're welcome. But now I think we're opening the door to too many values, and they don't fall in line with Canadian values. But we're so leftist that we're not taking a stance, and we're just saying like,
yeah.
Yes, that was something in the UK that we were quite envious of in North America. The fact that the immigration policy, when you lived in the same communities, you assimilated together, you went to the same schools, same colleges, universities, and in the UK, it's not like that. We're already almost ghettoized, and the Asians live there, the whites live in this part of the
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second.
In the UK, the Asian Muslims live in one part of the city, the blacks live in another part of the city, the white people live in another part of the city. Yeah, there's crossover, especially in a low income bracket. But as a rule, we're already segregated here, and it's something that we was kind of envious about. So that's why the focus for me on Canada, where it's been an explosion of anti-Semitism and the marches and the demonstrations, I think it's something that has to be looked at more closely.
Well, there's absolutely like I do agree. And I mean, we all have our neighborhoods as well. Like, I mean, it's very different, maybe Gatineau, because I kind of live in a very like we're more closely with, I'd say, like the Ottawa community. Like, I mean, I don't have like there's no synagogues or temples like in Gatineau. So it's Ottawa. There's 15,000 Jewish people that live here. So
wow,
quite a small number we are about 1 million who live in this city. Actually, it's grown quite a lot in the last couple of years, but still it is a very small community. And before moving here, even when I moved here, I just didn't look for the community. I was like, it's like non-existent. I come from Montreal, you know, the second largest Jewish community in Canada. So, I mean, I hope I'm right with my numbers. I think it's Toronto, the Montreal, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I believe, yeah. Thornhill, like Toronto area, I believe still has the most amount. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I never kind of like when looking for my community, right? So, but like after October 7th, like I was like, I need to talk to people who feel like they could understand me. And that's what even I would talk to like other people. And it just was like, if I would hear the word resistance, it like, I mean, and I don't say I had a lot of these conversations, but it's like, that's the thing. Like in so many ways, I feel like it's become like justifiable, you know, for perhaps like I have lived in Israel in the past for 2 years, and I chose to not like choose my life to live there because I actually didn't believe in the at the moment there was an occupation, and I didn't believe in it. And I just was such a peaceful person that I was like I love this country, but I don't see a future like raising a family when I know that on the other side life is very different. But it's also what they tell you in Israel. It is the perspective of the government. Like the news is very sheltered living in Israel compared to what it is like outside.
Yes.
So, and I don't know if people who haven't traveled there or know a lot of Israelis like understand that they're being fed a certain thing and a certain narrative.
Probably not.
No, probably
Sadly.
not.
No.
It's something to behold when that whole narrative and that whole system clicked into gear after October the 7th. When you started to look into to move into your community, what was it that you found?
I found actually that the community was there all along. We just didn't like I just never like made that effort, you know, and I just would live an assimilated life and just, you know, it was like kind of like here's me, here's my life, and here's like Judaism on the side. And I think now it surrounds me instead. So, and you know, so like actually a work colleague, which I really, you know, like making friends with him like almost 7 years ago has really really helped me within the community too, because he's always been active. So actually he does these Shabbat dinners usually for young professionals, but anyway, I count. I'm his colleague, even if I'm super young, but it doesn't matter. But people wanted something that wasn't like a synagogue or a temple, because we do have a lot of people who aren't necessarily religious and who don't necessarily either also have the funds to perhaps, you know, participate in being part of a shul or that sort of lifestyle. So he actually got some micro grants from like the JFO, so the Jewish Federation of Ottawa, to have these events at his house. Sometimes it is at a temple. Sometimes he'll like rent out like the back room of a restaurant, and he'll do barbecues. That's awesome. He themes nights, so he's done like falafel nights where he bakes all the pita, and he has like friends from the community who help him cook. And you know what? It's upwards to 40 people who show up.
That is great.
Yeah,
40. Wow.
Yeah. And it's been, you know, I have to say that's like, I look forward to that like monthly Shabbat dinner, you know, that place to connect and just to truly like, you know, feel not judged and safe.
Yeah, it's important. Find your community for sure.
Is that your release?
It is, you know, and it's just like, it's because I think like emotionally, like it's been just as difficult, like for sure for my spouse as well, to like hear me all the time talk about it, and to like, I mean, he absorbs it, like he can't not, you know. And I've even said like I'll never be the same since October 7th. Whatever Bronia was then is a different human right now. And will we even be back to normal after our hostages are home? I don't believe so. Like there's so much trauma. There's so much like collective pain, you know, that's driven us to be resilient. And like, you know, and even if it's people are tired of it or like they don't want to listen or this, like it's not going to deter me.
Is your steadfast resoluteness still the same? I remember how angry I was from October the 7th for the last almost 2 years. But I feel myself now kind of looking over my shoulder and not regretting how I've been, but looking over my shoulder, almost wanting it to stop. Enough. Even in Gaza, I want it. I'm now at the point where, come on, like you said, 60% is gone.
Yeah.
And we're not getting, it doesn't seem we're coming to any kind of resolution.
We just had another, like the states have just left Doha, and they're just like Hamas is they're again, how do you come to a ceasefire with a terrorist organization, you know? And it's like why hasn't then there, I understand we probably don't know where they are. And this military operation has taken on this scale that no one could have imagined.
No,
Right.
no.
And like, is it proportional anymore? Of course not.
No.
Of course not, you know, but like, you know, if I always, I heard this and I was like, this helped put things into perspective. It's like you tell you tell someone, well, your family is there. You're not going to be able to go get them. So why, so what's the point then, you know, like you're never going to fight for your person. Like, of course, like, and we all know tikkun olam. So like, we're all together. Right. So I think it's like, until they're home or their bodies are home, you know, I always put for an example, I was like, what kind of person would hold a person for 10 years? One has a mental illness, one was a poor
Yes.
soldier who lost his life, and they brought back their body after
Yeah.
10 years. I can only imagine as a mother, the pain and suffering to know that this family, it's torturous, right? Like there's a psychological torture that is just a
Worse than death. It's worse than anything. The
yeah,
not knowing,
yeah,
waiting is.
yeah. And but then again, I'm like, I don't I don't think I don't know what the solution is. I don't think any of us do. I do understand that we need to de-radicalize like 2 million people. Good luck with that.
That's never happening. Never happening.
That's the thing, you know. They're you know, they elected these people, and it's like they've also put in their charter of rights that the Jews. So it's kind of like hard to live next to these people who just, you want peace, they want the opposite. And it's like, but a lot of them, they're indoctrinated, they're brainwashed,
Of
they're
course, that's all
radicalized.
they know. That's
That's
not
all they
like
know.
people don't understand. There's no comparative. There's no, a lot of people say, well, why don't they just resist or why don't they don't have an opposing news station. They don't have people that are telling them, well, you could live this way or you could be like this. They don't know. This is all they know. So, well, there are no guilty, there's innocent people, of course. But at the same time, it's very hard because it's a circle because you don't remain innocent. You grow up, that's all you know. So how are you supposed to make these decisions anyways? And with no education, no money, they're all impoverished, and their own people don't help them, educate them, do anything to protect them. So I mean, it's a never-ending circle. I don't ever see, and in order to even have the most basics, even people that don't understand anything but say things like two-state solution, first of all, that's ignoring all the times they were offered their own state and never accepted it. But aside from that, all they have to do in order to have two states, you can accept the state of Palestine, but you have to accept the state of Israel as well. And they never will. And that's a circle that people just don't understand. It's not going to end by having a ceasefire. It's not going to end. It's not going to change people's views. It's not going to make a difference. They need a better.
Yeah. The perpetual refugee